computer. So this is the first time we are trying to get this bloody thing going. So yeah, I don't know whether the files I'll be able to retrieve them or not.
Well, probably best not to.
Yeah, they were pretty poor. So yeah, so there's loads of things I wanted to talk to you about, and you know, your personal journey to become where you are, both professionally and also as a person. So, what was it like being you growing up?
Is that what you're going to talk about?
No, well, yeah, because I think that
it's like a therapy session.
this is exactly what it is.
Is that what you do? Is this the Lone Wolf podcast? Is like
this is just one big guise for me to play with people's brains.
You're just going to be therapy sessions on weirdos.
Well, I wouldn't have described you as that, but
I'm just going off the description from your podcast thing.
Yeah, well, okay, fair enough. You got me on there. Do I say the word weirdos? I'm not sure.
You didn't say weirdos. You used
kooks.
Yeah, your copywriting skills are good. You're getting good.
Well, yeah, maybe you're one of the outliers. I see you as more of an outlier. So
okay,
that's.
Nice. You have to wait to bring it back.
Well, if anyone can bring it back, it might be me. I'm just trying to think. Okay, fine. Yeah. So how the hell did you get into being FitPro? You know, which is what you are. How did you
get into doing what you're doing? It's just I don't know. It just was a thing that piqued my interest at the right time. I just went down a rabbit hole.
Were you interested in sports and stuff as a kid?
I played sports as a kid, and like knowing now what I know, like it's always a thing, isn't it? Retrospectively, like I probably would have been a really good athlete at kind of any sport I'd turn my hand to if I had the right opportunity or the right coach in front of me at the right time, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to play rugby, but I used to go. So you play rugby, and I just played for the local rugby side. So you'd have training once a week, and then you'd have a match on Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
But as you know now, as an adult, how good can you get at something doing it 1 hour a week and then playing a game on the weekend? None. I used to go down to the club about 3 times a week, and I'd just do stuff.
Right.
I was like a kid. I was like 13, 14. I didn't know what I was doing. Younger, right. 11 even probably. I'd just go down to the rugby pitch, and I'd like run suicides, and I'd try and jump up and grab the thing, and whatever I'd do was jumping and bounding and sprinting, whatever I'd read in like Rugby World magazine or something like that. When in actual fact, what I should have been doing was practicing the skills for the sport, you know.
Specific drills kind of thing.
Yeah, I should have found something else that I could pass the ball with and kick and catch, and actually get better at the sport, rather than just doing working on edge. I was a kid, I didn't know what I was doing.
I think also there is a slight, I mean, not generational thing, but like sports, certainly in this country, has become sports. It's like there's more sort of technology behind it. By that I mean there's more, you know, it's more scientifically approached. You know, like structured coaching rather than right, you lads, you know, you play a game of football and crack on kind of thing.
I think everything's got that. It's just the power of the internet, right? It's just like knowledge in every field is just gone up exponentially, isn't it? Because, you know, doesn't matter. You can the knowledge on how to make a human more athletic is just like readily available, and you just apply it to whatever sport you want to.
So tell me about what you're doing now, because you're, and also I'm interested to know, because you made a massive leap from living in London, working in London really. You had your own gym, and then you kind of sacked it off and moved to the other part of the country. Just what was all that about?
Yeah, that's not quite how it went down, but
okay.
Well, I had a gym. I was living in London. I've always grew up in London, around North London. I got ill, and I couldn't work. Okay. So I couldn't make money. I couldn't pay bills. I couldn't
Mm.
pay rent. I couldn't buy food for my family. My wife's from the Northeast. We assessed the situation and we realised that, okay, how are we going to do this? We need to get the fuck out of London. It's so expensive.
Mm.
We moved to the Northeast where we had some family ties and, you know, just made a smart choice. We had some money, and the money that we had, we invested in a house. I recovered from the illness. And yeah, now we're here and we're thriving and getting ready for the next stage of the Marshall takeover, essentially.
That sounds ominous.
Just a little setback, right?
Yeah. So,
in the grand scheme of things, it's what? It's like a couple of years. It's going to be a fight. So we're, no, not that you're interested in my the long-term plans for my family, but so my youngest son is in primary school here.
Okay.
He's in year 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this will be the end of the year. We'll go into year 3 in September. But yeah, when he finishes primary school, we'll see him through primary school, because you can move the kids out of. It's a bit traumatic, isn't it? I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no rush. So it's what, 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, well, 5 years of education, yeah, standard.
Yeah. Until he finishes primary school, and then we'll do something else. We'll be out of here and we'll be somewhere else.
Oh, right. Okay. That sounds like you mean abroad, right?
We haven't made a decision. Like, it's a few years away. So
that's a yes.
Well, I mean, what's keeping you here?
Me?
How's the weather for you? Look out the window.
It's actually blue sky and a bit of sun, but well, no, it's a bit cloudy, but it is bright. The weather's just changed recently, but I get what you're saying. Our mutual friend Ali, he I massively rate as a human being. Also,
yeah, I need to get into. I haven't spoken to him for a little while.
Yeah, so he basically went, I've had enough of this. And he's obviously up sticks, and he's gone, and I think he's in Estepona or something like that. Yeah, he said, I got sick of looking out my house and seeing like youths in, dealing drugs right outside his doorstep. And it's that kind of catch-22 situation, isn't it?
Obviously it wasn't planned, and it's what we just did because we thought was the best thing for us at the time. But the moving out of London and moving up here has just opened my eyes and my mind to, okay, like why I don't need to like set my, what's the right way of saying it, my roots.
Get your roots down. Yeah
I can be anywhere. I can just be anywhere, and I can be anywhere for like chunks of time. Like why like, okay, I'm an Englishman, I live in England and I spend my whole of my life in England. That's just because by chance I was born here. I can be anywhere. And for, like we just discussed, for the next 3-4 years, I'm going to be in the northeast of England, and for the next 5 years, I could be somewhere else.
So you're definitely going somewhere sunny then?
Well, I mean,
no, you are. You just don't.
We're going to go somewhere. We haven't really discussed it. We're going to go somewhere what's the point in coming back down towards London? What's the point? What's there for me?
So we were looking at moving, and we've got this house that it might go through, it might not go through, but it's like the next town up, but it's a really high point, so you can see all over London. It's a really nice location, really close to the forest and stuff like that. And so it might not go through. I don't know, but so my wife, we've been looking around. You just I've been
attached to that part of the world. Is it like, do you feel like you need to be in that part of the world?
For me, I like it because it's closer to the forest, and I've got a real affinity with the forest. Which I've
pretty sick forests in like Croatia.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I've got lost in a forest, one of the last few forests in Europe that have still got wolves in, and I got lost in there. And I remember I had like a Snickers bar, and I was like, right, I've got to make this last. And I'd start eating it within the first 10 minutes. And I just, like, the wolves are going to take me. And then I've just found a bus stop and people said, no, you need to go back that way. I was like, it was fine. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying. But
how would you reckon you fare with the wolves? Would you just succumb or would you fight?
I'd have to join their tribe.
No, that's not an option.
Why not?
They're not going to come to you and go, Alan, do you want to join our tribe? They're either going to try and eat you or you're going to have to defeat them.
I'd urinate and hopefully they would. I don't know where I'm going with this. I would like to think I'd have some affinity for them, but if they did attack me, then obviously, what am I going to do?
I'm pretty sure the wolves don't give a fuck about you, mate.
No, they're probably not. But
you can stick a picture of a wolf on your t-shirt and call yourself a lone wolf, but I think the actual wolves don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah, I don't think that. Well, they certainly give a shit about each other, but I don't. I think if you're outside that circle, you're kind of you're dead to them, right? So in that case, I'd probably have to try and defend myself.
You would. I think about this often about fighting animals. Have you ever thought about fighting animals?
All the time.
Yeah.
I've fought a few animals in my time as well.
Yeah.
I attacked a German Shepherd about a year ago.
Dog's that's not a proper test, I don't think.
This is 6 foot on its hind legs.
Yeah. Like if you've got dogs, I don't really feel threatened by dogs.
No, I don't really, which is probably why I attacked it. Well, no, he was trying to bite my son's face. So, it's like, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. That's something that only I should be able to do. And
so what was that's something that, so your reaction would have been something that was like deep inside you, right? Something was.
I just dived at him. Yeah. I just dived at him and sunk my nails into him. And
do you remember what was going through your mind at the time?
Yeah, I'm going to fucking kill you, pretty much. Which I love dogs, so that's a weird thing to sort of to have going through your mind. But yeah, it was very much like, you're not doing that to one of mine. Only I can do that. So
only I can bite my son's face.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't think I've ever bitten his face. No, I definitely haven't bitten his face. Yeah, that's a safeguarding issue. Yeah, if I say yes to that, but no, I haven't. Yeah, he's he got jumped by a bloody Alsatian, and it was bloody massive. It was like taller than him standing up, and it must have been 14 at the time. So I just sort of like launched myself in. But yeah,
you're not that mobile though, a dog. If you get like behind it or on the side, get it on its side, it's not a particularly mobile animal, is it?
No, I mean, I sort of wonder.
Strange.
You start to wonder whether you could apply any kind of jujitsu to, like you've got Mata de Leon or whatever, like the lion killing, like basically a name of a triangle. You just sort of think, well, I wouldn't like to be underneath, not really, or a wolf or a massive dog. I'd want to be trying to be behind it, or to the side of it at least. But
I think when you get into, like, you understand fighting, right? When you get into a fight, it's not about necessarily the physicality of the animal. Is you like if it's like
if you can bring fear into it,
make it submit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's you see that a lot, don't you? With like what's his name? The dog whisperer guy. A lot of the time it's not his necessarily its physicality; it's the way he structures himself and holds himself and stuff like that. Almost like posture and stuff. It's got a lot to do with that.
Have you heard the story about Eugen Sandow wrestling a lion?
No.
So I think it's quite a famous story. So he was, you know who Eugen Sandow is, right?
Well, I do, but other people may not.
He's a famous strongman, like from 1900s.
Curly moustache, all that.
Like quite like kind of the most revered strongman in history, I suppose. Probably only because he was the one around when there were like photographs and stuff. I'm sure there were people before him, but yeah. So one of the things he was going to do was he was going to wrestle a lion as a part of his show. So they got a lion and he practiced. So they rehearsed before. It's like he wrestled the. I think they.
How'd you practice that? Logistics. Come on.
I'm not sure. I'd have to read the story again to be sure, but I'm pretty sure that it was clawed, and it probably had a muzzle on. Maybe it didn't have a muzzle.
Oh, so they cut its claws off so he couldn't scratch him.
Essentially, yeah. But basically, so the story goes that he did the rehearsal and he wrestled the lion and made the lion submit, so that when the show started, the lion wouldn't wrestle him. It just came out and cowered.
Doesn't sound like much of a show, but yeah, I get. Yeah,
so that's the idea, right? Because in the mind of the animal, it's been defeated. It's not gonna put on a show for you.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He's like,
I don't care about your show.
I don't care about
the ticket sales,
bums on seats. yeah. Poor lion. Yeah, that's not very fair, I think, to some degree, because
it's the 1900s, though. Like, you know what
they didn't really care.
Circuses and things used to. That was a horrendous business, right?
Yeah, no, that's not pleasant. But yeah, that's like, well, let's drug it as well. You know, I mean, it fights because, you know, lions aren't really big wrestlers, are they? They're more like.
The point of the story is that a strong man who's probably got some experience in wrestling was able to beat a lion. But I think that if it was hadn't been declawed, he might have still beat the lion, but he'd probably bleed to death at the end, wouldn't you?
The lion would have bit his face off, man. Have you ever seen that film? It's really good. It's called Grizzly Man.
I liked it. Yeah, I know, but that was just. Do you think that man understood what could happen to him? I don't know.
Well, no, I don't know what.
I think a bear's a different thing to a. Yeah, I mean, a lion's pretty dangerous, isn't it?
Well, bears are pretty bloody dangerous as well. I mean,
who
would you trust, a bear or a lion?
Neither, but a bear's massive. I mean, that's a whole other thing. You get a lion that can be like the same sort of size as a man. But
yeah.
A bear,
they can be the size of like a car, basically.
Yeah, bear's a different thing.
Yeah.
But hey, let's going down another rabbit hole. We keep going.
Yeah, but I don't mind rabbit holes though. So anyway, you were saying about, so you're thinking about traveling and that you're there. So how are you?
It just makes you realise that you don't really have to. Your roots aren't settled anywhere. You know.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't planning on moving, and then when we moved, I was like, oh, okay, you can move around, and it's just not a big deal. Yeah, it's not really a big deal.
It's so funny when you get a shift in mindset. I know exactly what you mean, really. That it's like you live with this sort of rigid, sort of not rigid, but like a fixed mindset in one particular context, and you think, well, this is the way for me, and then all of a sudden, life happens to you, and then you have to adapt.
I'm a huge growth mindset thing. That's my I don't like preach or anything, but that's just my own ethos, my own head.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the idea of a growth mindset is just basically you're capable of anything, right? Absolutely. Yeah. If you just apply yourself.
Yeah.
Like I don't know whether you're going to. The first conversation we had that got cut off, you were saying about how you like the evolution of how you got to this point with the lone wolf.
Yeah.
And it was the fighter's mind, and you're like, oh, it's not really feeling this anymore, for whatever reason, and it moved to something else. I've lost my train of thought.
With growth mindsets.
A growth mindset is like, I'm not fixed. I'm not fixed on anything, on any one idea or anything. Everything can change at any moment, right? And like we've learned anything in the last 2 years, that's 100% I'm right.
Do you think it's people are going to come out of this mentally stronger? I suppose some people might, but
probably not. Overall, probably not.
Yeah,
I think overall it's probably been really bad for for people. I think for me, I was hoping that like this should bring out the entrepreneurial spirit in everybody. I'd love to see Britain like. I just don't think it is. People are too slaves. They're too
coward, aren't they? Down at heel.
Like it's easy, isn't it? I can just give up my time for some money and I can go home and eat chips and watch Netflix.
I think part of that is it's tough if you've got a job. If you've got a job and you work for somebody, I think it's more difficult. I think it's easier to sort of make a shift from I work for myself, I'll go and try something else that might be brand new, because that's still you kind of working for yourself, rather than
the mindset isn't I work for myself. It's like I need resources. It's not even that. It's not even like I work for you or I work for myself. It's just I need resources, right? I know that at some point today I'm gonna have to eat. Where's that food gonna come from?
Yeah.
And I need a roof over my head. I don't need a roof, but I like a roof over my head. I want to be able to cook my food on the oven. So I need to pay for gas and electricity. So I need resources. But I'm not willing to trade 40 hours of my time every week for a wage. So I need to come up with those resources myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think that's a particularly common mindset, though, sadly.
You think?
I don't think so.
I think people just don't realize. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, sorry.
They've got the potential for it, but I don't think that they, I think they're just, a lot of people are just like, well, I've got a job, got to keep the job.
So it's the treadmill of life, or the conveyor of life. You go, it starts with the education system, right?
Yeah. And also, but it's also like matter expands to fill the void. So these people who, let's say they've got 50 grand, 100 grand a year, whatever, their resources are going to be filled up by stuff. They're going to buy stuff. They're going to have a house that's a certain size. They're going to have a lifestyle. They're going to maybe get a second car, get a third holidays. And then it's like, once they've, habituated to that, acclimatized to that, then it's like, shit, I need to maintain that.
Yeah, but again, it's the education system. Like it's a foolish way of thinking. Like, you're getting money and spending money, so then you need to wait until you get the next bit of money. Like, that's how you're supposed to use money. Like, that's how rich people use money. You get some money and you invest that money, so the money's a tool that makes more money. If you get a wage on like the first of the month, and then you spend all your money at the end of the month, you've got no money. That's the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get in so much. I'm gonna be so much heat for this.
That's good, though, man.
You're supposed to like take money and then use that money to make more money. So that at the end of the month, you haven't spent any money. So if let's just take for example, just like real basic economics. You just like read one blog or a book on economics and understanding. Say for instance, you earn like £1,000. Invest that £1,000. By the end of the month, you'll have like, if you're smart and good at investing, you have £2,000. You pay your bills. You pay your bills with the extra £1,000, and you've still got your £1,000 at the end of the day. I don't need to go back and get more money from someone else. Like, my money makes money.
So why aren't we being taught that then?
Because they want you.
Because
they want you to be a cog in the wheel, bro. They want you to be a cog in the wheel.
Yeah. Do you believe that?
Wolf podcast. Why are you asking me this?
Well, because you're a lone wolf, man. So I'm asking you So
the whole idea of it, I don't need to rely on someone else to provide for me. I'm a fucking lone wolf.
Yeah.
If you, I don't know. I don't want to rant anymore on this. I don't want to rant.
No, you need to rant more on this. This is why you're here.
I'll insult too many people.
Well, I mean, the good thing about you is that when you because you, I think the word is laconic, and which I and I could be wrong. If there's any historians, please correct me, write me on this. But from what I understand, there was this Laconia, and it was like whether a Greek island or something like that, and the Romans we're going to overtake that, or some
into conquering. Conquering that's pretty much all I research. Conquering shit, just conquer. I'm like I feel like even this lockdown. Yeah. I've had to like ring a few people and speak to them and say like, I think I'm going a bit crazy. Like all I want to do is conquer everything. I can I'm so into like the Mongol Empire and the Persian Empire and all that shit. I love that shit so much.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah.
So the Mongols, they would just go to the next tribe. It started off that you go like along to the next tribe, and you would just go in there and, are you with us or not? Yeah. Are you with us or not? And if you're not with us, we're going to kill you.
Yeah.
That's it. And if
I
you're
mean,
not,
you choose.
and if you're useful, can you like speak another language, or can you like make weapons, or can you read maps, or can you write?
Mm-hmm.
Then you can contribute to our society. Excellent. If you are just like, if you're useless to us, we're going to kill you. Yeah, I love that shit. I love that shit. But
That's
we have
do
to
or
conform,
die stuff, isn't it?
we have to conform to 21st century laws these days. So, again, I don't want to talk too much about killing people. So.
Well, you know, so we've talked about killing animals, now we're killing people.
But you kill animals for a reason. Like, and I was given an example of one person in history who fought a lion.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many people throughout history who have fought lions.
Well, yeah, but you were trying to get me to say I wanted to kill wolves.
You said you were lost in the woods. If you were lost in the woods and the wolves approached you, and you were like, "I'll just join their tribe." You're not gonna. That's not one of your options.
Come to me, my jungle friends. Come on.
You're either dinner, or I have to scare them off. At some point, there's going to be some form of combat, which you're either going to win or you're going to lose. You don't really have a lot of options.
Yeah, you're either dinner or you end up wearing their pelt.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, but the whole thing about
conquering. We're talking about conquering shit.
Yeah. And about Laconia, apparently the Romans sent a messenger boy saying, if we beat you, we're going to ransack, we're going to rape your women and burn your villages, and if we do this, and apparently the Laconia, that they just responded with the word "if," and they just sent that back via the messenger. It's like, psych.
Oh, there's so many badass things like that messengers throughout history.
Yeah,
they send messenger, and the message they get back is badass as fuck.
I always thought that was really, really interesting, that there was still communication, because you think from a primal level, you think, got a messenger, right, kill him, that's it. And I'm sure many messengers were like, oh, is it going to be a good day or a bad day today?
You kill the messenger, then your message doesn't get back to whoever sent the messenger.
Yeah, but it's like, at some point there must have, but that at some point must have been part of the unspoken or spoken treaty. Like, you don't kill the messengers. I'm a messenger. It's like in was it in 300? It's like, you can't kill me. I'm the messenger. I'm like, well, guess what? We don't play well with others.
That's another crazy thing. And the 300 thing is like a revered moment in history, right? When in reality, what happened was the Persians came along, they killed them all and put their heads on spikes.
Right.
That's what happened. Like, it was like, 300, the Spartans are so amazing. No, they just got fucking smashed.
They got smashed, yeah.
They got fucking smashed, and the Persians just went on and just like conquered tons of Greece.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. It was a good. I quite like the film though. I thought that was a good film.
I'm not into. Yeah, I don't really watch a lot of television or films and things. I have seen that film.
But you do a lot of reading, don't you? You're a voracious reader.
I read. I'm sure there's people that read more.
Yeah. But so how many books are you slinging a month?
Oh, not that many. Not that. I usually have I have like some easy reading stuff on the go, a couple of books on the go all the time. Like when I'll sit and read on the toilet, when I'll sit and read on board. I've got like a proper book that I'll read until it's done. I don't have a timer on it, and then I have an audio book on the go at the same time. So I might have 4 books.
So yeah, so you're juggling sort of 3 or 4. That's pretty decent, man. I can only seem to do 1 at a time.
They're all kind of different topics.
Yeah.
But like, how many TV shows can you watch?
1 usually. Yeah, I'm just not interested in it otherwise.
I'm really not interested in television.
Yeah, I don't mind some. No, I like some. There's some good shows and stuff, but yeah, I my family, they've just gone through Cobra Kai, which I haven't watched, but I sort of absorbed via osmosis while I was sort of working on the computer in the next room, and I'm like, oh, they absolutely loved it, but and I feel like a real party pooper because I sort of came in, put my hands on my hips, and sort of said, "That's not what real violence looks like."
It's not even that. It's just like so. this is just like the evolution of entertainment, I suppose, isn't it? Like a movie used to be 90 minutes, and then it's 2 hours, and then you get 3-hour movies, and now you've got Netflix. So like an entertainment thing, a show, is now like 4 seasons or whatever. It's like, how many hours is that? 40 hours?
Yeah.
You want me to give up 40 hours of my life?
Yeah.
Watch some entertainment? I don't get it. To me,
well, it's like the Game of Thrones thing. I mean, each episode was, I'm sure it was.
I did watch Game of Thrones. I was like,
because that's got a lot of conquering in it, so they hooked you in.
No, but also, I resisted it for a long time, but it was such a big pop culture thing.
Yeah.
That you're missing out. You're like, I didn't get what was going, like everything, all the memes and all of the. You can just shut yourself off from it, I suppose. But I succumbed to the pop culture. I watched Game of Thrones.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the process of going through and following the story, but I don't really want to invest my time in another one.
No.
Show.
It's too easy. It's too easy to get sucked into them, I think.
Yeah, I just don't watch. I don't judge people that do it. It's just not. I don't enjoy it.
So on a day-to-day basis, like what are you doing, sort of? Because you're connected up with the gym up there. Have you got your own space, or are you like working out at the gym?
I'm in the process of building my own space here, so you can't see because the camera's fixed. But I've got a 3x3 mat, so I've got a 9 square mat.
Is that an outbuilding, or is that in your house?
No, this is in my house.
Okay.
Bro, when you move out of London, you can buy. I've got a 3-story Victorian house.
Really?
Like 10-foot ceilings. Like we won't talk numbers, but I bet my mortgage is about half of whatever yours is.
Yeah, I bet.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know when you go driving around, what's the really posh part of London called now? Hampstead, like
Hampstead. Yeah. Oh God, yeah, West Hampstead.
Big houses like that. I live in a house like that. I live in like what in London would be a £6 million house.
That's crazy.
Trust me, I didn't pay £6 million for it. So I've got a massive room. I've got a massive room in my house.
Yeah.
There was a dining room that no one ever used, and ended up just being a room that my wife just was relentlessly piling.
Yeah, with stuff. Yeah.
So I just cleared it out and I turned it into. It's going to be like a studio for my kind of online work, I suppose.
Before you move.
Yeah, but I've got to fill the space for 4 years, haven't I? So then in 4 years' time, everything can just get taken up and put in a van and taken.
Yeah. So you're building a gym, and
I mean, this is kind of necessity from the way the world is right now, and I actually quite enjoy it. So, I pretty much, as soon as the first lockdown happened, obviously I didn't foresee any of this, but again, like we spoke about before, I need resources. So one of my ways of making some money was to teach people how to exercise, which, we won't get into what I really think of that.
Such a weird, you're so weird. That's what I like about you. You're so weird. Like, who says to teach people how to exercise? You always seem to come from this. I remember you really taught me that strength was a skill, and it's like you see them all as, it's not like, oh, losing fat or getting strong or cutting out or whatever. You're like you're like really seem to come from that standpoint of it's the acquisition and the progression and the building of a skill, which I really like. That, like, learning how to exercise. It's so weird.
It is. I mean, I personally think it's very weird as myself, but people pay me money for it, so
it's awesome. Yeah, amazing.
And it was one of the ways that I created some income. So I shifted all of that online, and over the last, what has it been, 18 months, I've had to become more and more efficient at it.
Right. And
I'm sick of filming videos of myself trying to teach people how to do stuff in my hallway. So I've just basically, I just turned this room, and I've turned this room into a studio now.
Yeah.
But now we've just been told so we're recording this. It's the 23rd of February. Yesterday it was announced that supposedly the world's going to open up again on the 12th of June, like pretty much the full lockdown will be over.
Yeah.
But it means that I don't need to go into somebody else's gym and pay them a fee so that I can use their gym. Once again, I'm completely self-reliant. So
That's decent, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the simple thought process to me. There's not much more into it, isn't it?
It's kind of streamlined so much, hasn't it? I mean, I know obviously there's been a staggering amount of human life that's been lost, and and I don't wish to devalue that at all, because I know people that have really suffered, and it's been horrible for people. And at the same time, there have been sort of, I don't want to say quantum leaps or big jumps in, but there's been some real sort of restructuring of how we sort of function. Do you know what? It's so weird, because before this kicked off, I mean, my sort of journey of kind of like running started sort of December, October, and maybe no, it must have been sort of November, December of last year. So it's pre-lockdown, plodding away through the forest and stuff. And it's like, the minute bloody lockdown started to happen, that people were threatened with losing their liberty. Oh my God, the bloody forest has never been so busy. Never been so busy. And it's made me think we've really become much more of an outdoorsy kind of type of people. It's really weird. And then at the same time,
give it 12 months and see if they're still there.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? But I think that, well, I think that the numbers will drop, but I don't think they'll drop to how low that they were before. In the same way that I think that some businesses that have got some degree of savvy are going to go, do you know what? Well, instead of spending $100,000 a year, with this office here, we can move further out and have a satellite office that maybe people come into.
I think the corporate world would be completely restructured. I think the 2 hours outdoors is the new 10,000 steps, right?
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, but I think it's great, really. I mean, apart from when I'm running downhill and it's like I have to start coughing and spitting other than shout, "Get out of my way!" Because like I'm trying to run downhill and get of speed downhill just to kind of push myself. Yeah, well, dude,
like Glory in the slow who's in the slow lane, and you try and pull in on the slip road. You try and pull in the slip road. They ain't slowing down. They ain't slowing down.
They can't. So it's like, if I and all I have to
Alan coming down with his pack on.
All I have to do is change my arm swing from across to like this, and then that's it. Then it's like the momentum starts, and with a downhill and a prevailing wind, then I start to build up. And I was going down a hill the other day, Sunday, and I was going down, and it was like, it's dry, it's really nice, sort of like gravel, and it's dry, and then halfway down it gets really wet, and it's like I had to kind of like do this weird tiptoey thing where I'm trying to lean back and tiptoe, so I don't because I couldn't just plow through. I just would have started to snowball and stuff. But it's interesting, sort of going downhill and just hoping people, if I can cough and make some grunting noises and stuff, that they'll like just get out of my way.
So if you had a bike, you just have a ding ding, wouldn't you? So you need to have there needs to be like a runner's version of that.
Yeah.
You got horn. Could you have like a you wear your hat, you could have something hanging off your hat. Could you have a honk honk or something on your hat?
I look, you're trying to goad me into looking even more ridiculous than I look when I'm running anyway.
I'm trying to come up, so I'm a solutions guy. Mate.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, equally, when I'm going up a hill, that's when I'm probably naturally making more noise and I'm huffing and puffing. And people that are walking up, and I'm like, I'm not even making any ground to these two people that are walking up. This is so annoying. And eventually, I'm huffing and puffing. I'm trying to desperately overtake them at my slightly faster than walking speed, kind of like pace. And they'll move to the side. And I'm like, thanks for that. And I'm like trying to go past, like, you put real pressure on me now. I was, just watch this space. And it's like, it's just like takes like about 30 seconds to walk past them. And then I think, right, now I have to try and compete. I mean, I actually use it in a positive way, because I think, right, now
Sounds
I have
like
to.
you're worrying about you're thinking about what they're thinking too much.
Well, yeah, but for me, I use it as a little bit of motivation. So like, now I have to make sure I don't, because I remember, I'm sure there was one guy and I was going so slow and I overtook him, and then he was walking and he's like, he overtook me. And I think it became this kind of like pissing contest, you know. It's quite funny really. But they never found his body. So that was, that was fun. But it was a great ending. You know, yeah. So are you, like, your focus, you're working with athletes at the moment? Is it primarily fight gyms, or is it like
No. I mean, the majority of my work is general population.
okay.
Um,
And is that the online program kind of stuff that's
yeah,
available
just
at the moment?
online coaching. I don't really do programs.
Okay.
It's like I don't know. It's like an organic thing from whenever it starts. It just grows into whatever it needs to be. So the person.
So do people prefer that, or do they not like a program, or how does that work?
I just never offer them a program. If they want a program, the thing is, anyone who's been in the fitness industry for 6 months can write you a program, right?
Right. Yeah. That's just an Excel spreadsheet, right?
Yeah. If you like, the reason you would come to somebody who has 20 years experience in like coaching physical attributes be because you're interested in something a bit deeper, aren't you? Right?
Yeah.
So they would come to me, this is what I want to do. And I'd be like, cool, let's do it. And it's like just a process from there. So what I do is it's 12 months. So I take people on in January. I don't take anyone else on for the rest of the year.
Really? Wow.
So yeah, I'm like, I've got my like client allocation for the year is I'm like topped out, and I'll work with these people for 12 months, and then I'll take more people on in January 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do some kind of. But so this time, because the first time I did it, I had to do like a marketing campaign.
I bet you loved that.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because it was like it's a skill, isn't it? So it's a skill that you have to learn.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, you can go back and look at it from what you can see when I started it to when I finished it, and it worked. I got what I wanted out of it, but I don't think I'll need to do that again next year because I'll just work on referrals from there.
Okay. Yeah. So once you've got a body of clients, and I suppose the people that you're working with are going to say, well, this guy's good, you know. I'm
very, very confident that if these people, which they have done because they did it, they're going to give me 12 months, get them what they want. And I'm more than confident that in 12 months I can do that.
So are you covering stuff like nutrition and, you know, diet and all that kind of stuff, or is it like only about the physical attributes?
Everything to do with health and fitness.
Yeah.
Everything to do with health and fitness. And obviously a huge part of that is diet. I don't give people a diet. What I would do is I would, like, say for instance, it was you.
Just careful, don't be.
I would set up a
zero carb,
a virtual food diary. So, like, for instance, we set up a WhatsApp feed where you just record all your, like, this is like real simple stuff that people just don't do. Like, if you want to make improvements in yourself, but you're not monitoring what you're doing,
it's just luck and chance, isn't it?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
So the first thing we do is monitor your diet. I'm not going to tell you what to eat. And the problem with like inexperienced nutritionists or whatever it would be like, they would just go, this is what you want to do. Okay, you want to lose weight. Here's how you're supposed to eat from now on. And it never works, right?
No.
Because it's so different from how you used to eat.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So what I do is I'll monitor how you eat, probably for a month, and we'll just focus on we'll change one thing.
Yeah.
We'll just change one thing. We'll improve one thing. And once you've got that and it's habitual and we haven't got to worry about it, change something else. That's why it's the 12-month process is perfect for me. It's perfect. Because the mistake most people make when they come on like a fitness journey is they underestimate how long it's going to take them. Oh, I'm going to get shape in 12 weeks. No, you're fucking not. No, you're not. It's like you want something you can. I want my clients. I'm going to teach them, and I'm going to give them all of everything they need to sustain that for a lifetime.
Yeah.
I don't want them. I don't take on clients that want to get in shape for the summer. I'm not interested in that.
Oh right. Oh right. Oh really?
Has no interest in me. You can literally find a million other people that can do that for you.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not interested. I don't want him. Yeah, I want a project that is interesting to me. It's got to be interesting to me. Otherwise, what's the point?
Interesting. So you're kind of
I'm not going to just take on people for the sake of taking on people. Like, I want to lose weight. Okay, we'll talk about it a little bit, and if there's anything that's a bit interesting to me, then we'll work together. But if you just want to lose weight, then just like eat less and do more stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't need to pay me. You don't need to pay me for a year for me to figure that.
Yeah. Well, I suppose
I'll give you that for information for free.
That's the difference between operating from it sounds so cheesy, but like a poverty mindset and an abundance mindset. And I've done sort of both. I've done where, one where, God, just I remember somebody. This. God. So I'd probably been in practice a couple of years, and somebody, this really, lovely looking girl, she sort of approached me and she sort of said, I want you to make me look younger. I'm like, okay, right, well, what do you mean, kind of thing? And she said,
what service were you offering?
So it's hypnotherapy, that kind of stuff.
So this is kind of in your head, right? She wants to feel younger.
So this is what I thought, right?
You don't feel differently.
So I said, well, what do you mean? What you want to feel younger? She said, no, I want you to make me younger. And I was like, what actually make you look younger? And she said, yeah. And so I said, what, using hypnotherapy and hypnosis and that kind of stuff? She said, yeah.
You should have just subleased. You should have got a plastic surgeon.
Yeah. Find
out what his fees were, and then subleased him to her and make some money.
So I said, you know, that's kind of impossible. It's not really realistic. You do know that, don't you? She goes, yeah, I know. But I want you to do it anyway.
Just want to give you take my money.
Yeah, and I was just like, right, what's that? So I made sure that she understood. This. It might make you. It'll make you feel different, but it's probably not going to make you look different, which is interesting. I'm going to kind of criticize myself, because what I've noticed is that when you get people in a hypnotic state, in a trance state, in a meditative state, they look differently. And I know there's going to be confirmation bias coming from me, because I've got a level of attunement towards that state. But I swear people look different when they're in that, because it's like the whole skin is flaccid and smooth, and that there's this whole
stress, like where you wear it, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But anyway, so back to this. So, I did the hypnosis and stuff. We did this, oh God, and it was like, I really felt like, no, I did give her caveats. I said, look, it's not going to work, kind of thing. She goes, yeah, I know, but I just want you to do it anyway. Okay. So did it. I said, what kind of suggestions do you want me to give? Because I can because my response would be, I'll make you feel, you're going to feel younger, all that kind of stuff. You're going to feel good, vitality. And she goes, no, I want you to, I'm going to look younger. So, oh God, great. And I'm quite diligent about following up, giving support and follow up is a big part of what I do. And this is one person I was just like, I really didn't want to get in touch with them to do the follow up. I was sort of cringing, but she was quite happy. She goes, oh yeah, no, I feel a bit different and I look a bit younger. And I just thought, well, okay.
I mean, it's like I think the two spaces we're in probably cross over in the fact that you get a lot of people who just, they don't really know what they want.
Right.
I want to lose weight. Do you?
Yeah.
Then why are you overweight?
Yeah.
Like it's the. I
Biscuits.
mean, you probably got some better. But then you know that, so you need to just come up with a strategy to so that's not a problem anymore.
Don't buy biscuits.
Don't have them in the house, I suppose. It's simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have. I don't know. You probably have much better systems to this than me. I just do the 5 whys, and you just delve deeper into like the reason why you want it. Just keep going. Why? I do why 5 times.
Oh, really? Yeah. I got that. Yeah.
I go 5 whys deep, and then find out what's going on. It seems to work for me.
Yeah.
But I'm sure. I'd be interested, maybe not on here because you'll be giving away your secrets. But
I don't really. I honestly, I don't have any secrets.
I find 5 whys works really well. So a lot of people just don't know what they want to do. They don't know what they want to do. So, like, for instance, I want to lose weight. Why? Because it'll make me feel better. Why? Like so once you get about 2 or 3 deep, people have to rethink, and people aren't.
There's this really interesting. There's this really interesting sort of technique, which, I mean, it's initially, as my understanding is, it sort of comes out of NLP kind of stuff, but it's like a parts integration. And so in short, like you'll get the person to, like, if there's conflict within the person, one of you wants to eat cakes, the other one wants you to be fit, and you actually you go, right, okay, so I want you to put on this hand, the part of you that wants to eat cakes. So you go, right. And then you'll start creating a sensory overlap, right? Feel the weight of that person, like how do they feel in your hand? What feels heavy? Now, the negative is always the heavy one. Always. Well, I don't know, up to this point, 12 years in, so I feel the weight. And then you put in this end, like the part of you that wants to be fit. And so then you go, right, well, what does this part think of this part? Well, this part hates that part, and that part, is like confused, doesn't understand that part, and you'll do this kind of negotiation. It's quite an interesting thing, especially how sometimes it can turn out, which I'll explain in a minute. But the questioning is, so you'll say, right, what does, like, what do you want? Oh, I want to eat cake, and the questioning is kind of like, what's that going to give you that you don't already have? Freedom. And what happens is, what you find a lot of the time is that you'll go up the chain of, like, the questioning is like, well, okay, say you've got freedom. What that gives you that you haven't already got? Sense of peace. Right? You'll go up this chain, and there'll always be this, quite nearly always, there'll be this positive intention. And so what happens is you draw these 2 conflicting parts, like, to the point that you can see, oh, they both want freedom. And this weird thing happens sometimes. Last couple of times, sometimes it doesn't happen, but quite often you'll actually see this happen. And I'll say, what's happening? They'll go, my hands are going together. I'm like, well, what does that mean? I don't know. It's just like, and it's like, it's like this somatic playing out of an understanding that actually they both want the same thing. And then you do a whole spiel about, you bring that together and bring that inside, and kind of like, almost like trusting your unconscious that you may be able to find a way to resolve the resolution. It's interesting, but it's like that whole thing of, like, why, and what's that going to do for you? Why? And once you've got that why? And I think that's it's such a simple thing, but it's forcing people to think, isn't it? Forcing people to think, to dig.
People just don't think. It's like, that's like.
Glad you said that.
Yeah, people just aren't good at thinking. They're not good. I don't want to generalize, but
yeah. Well, I think
the food thing, like, a few years ago, I found this quite interesting. The problem that most people have with food is just the way that they were raised. That's all.
Oh, sure.
It was, you're feeling sad, let's get an ice cream. You did well at school today. Let's get an ice cream.
Yeah.
Like it's people used food as a for comfort, and you've also got to think about where we are in history, right? So our parents were probably the first generation of people who had food in abundance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Their parents didn't. They were probably on rations, right?
Yeah.
So our parents brought us up like, oh, you've got so much food, this is incredible. Like we're going to make sure that our children, we want to give our kids the best. Right? We're going to give our kids everything we didn't have, and we're just going to feed you and feed you and feed you. And you're feeling sad, we'll buy you an ice cream, whatever. And now you've got a few generations in, who are all fucked because of that.
It's like there's this. There has to be necessity. There has to be like a requirement. There has to be almost like. And I was talking with this I won't know names, but like a high-end kind of somebody that's had some very, very difficult things that he's dealt with in his life. And that hardship it's actually given him such resilience, such ability, because now he's not in hardship. He's able to cherish and really appreciate something which is we will sort of take for granted, and I was sort of saying that, when I went to Thailand, I came back from Thailand after sleeping in a hut. I'm like turning on a tap. Oh, there's hot water that comes out of it. It's like black magic. It's like magic that hot water comes out of a tap. And it's just like, sometimes you need to have a bit of, and I know David Goggins talks about this, doesn't he? He's like, you need that hardship to kind of like to grow your appreciation muscle as well, to have. So there's got to be those contrasts within your life, and if there isn't some hardships, then there's going to be some sort of impact later down the line, maybe through like soft, it's like in Wall-E. I love the film. And have you seen Wall-E, the film, with the little robot? It's like the Pixar thing.
Is that where they have all the people who like float around in chairs?
Yeah. Because it's just like, that's like 10 years in, it's like they're floating mobility scooters, and they're just like people that have just got so fat. And there's this like, like they do the captain has to get up and walk 5 paces to press a button, and it's like duh, 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 and he's like da-da, it's like his little bones of the sort of like just turned into sort of the retracted to be like 3 inches little sticks, and the rest of him is turned into a tub of goo. But yeah, so I think hardship is a necessity. I think that it can be overdone, but I think it's like, if you slept all day, it wouldn't do you any good, probably, unless you were recovering from an illness. But it's about balance, and it's like that whole thing about balance, which is
balance is the thing. Balance is the thing that you're saying about people can I eat the cake and I don't want it. Like, you can eat the cake, just don't be addicted to cake.
Have you looked at any of the work of Ray Cronise? He's this guy. I think he originally came. He's a scientist, and he sort of came into not fame, but Tim Ferriss was featured him in I think the 4 Hour Work Week when he was, or the 4 Hour Body or something like that. And he's done lots of work on sort of thermogenics and like cold and all that kind of stuff. And he's gone on to sort of create his own, I suppose, not diet, but it's basically plant foods, and stuff like that. And and he's like, he won't outlaw anything, but it's like it's going back. It's like a renaissance, it's where he says like, on your birthday, have birthday cake because it's your birthday. So it's like his phrase is rare and appropriate.
Well, it's the thing. It's like you're celebrating, right? So we celebrate with poison.
Yeah, but you don't celebrate all year round. That's not appropriate. And
but so this is one of the things about food is like you can make food nowadays that tastes amazing, right? Tastes amazing. It's probably not good for you if you eat loads of it. But people don't. It's an addiction.
Oh, for sure.
We're addicted to that sensation in your mouth, but it's not spoken about as an addiction. It's not like people will frown upon like drug addicts or alcoholics, or but like they'll sit there eating like chocolate eclairs, like judging someone else.
Yeah.
Like that's an addiction. Like your like food is fuel, right? It's there for a reason. It's supposed to like sustain your body. If every time you eat, you're eating for pleasure, that's an addiction. We're addicted to that pleasure. Like it's not supposed to be every meal you eat is a gourmet meal. No, every meal, the majority, like not even 80%, like 95% of the times you eat, you're just eating to fuel your brain and your body and all that. The sensation is like, that's something completely different. That's a different thing.
Yeah.
If you only associate eating with like pleasure, then your whole mindset around nutrition is completely wrong.
It's so fascinating you say that, because I've just thought of a friend of mine, Edwin. I don't know, he probably won't listen to this, but Edwin, we used to mock him because we like, let's say we're at school canteen or college canteen or whatever, he would get a plate of food, and you know, probably the same kind of level of wealth as anyone else, and he would get a plate of food, and it would just be like 2 ladles of sweet corn, layers of rice, beans, sweet corn. It was just like, and it was like we'd like mock him, saying, "Oh God, he eats for function," you know. And he's very much like that, you know. It's like, and if you've looked, you know, because I sort of read some of the books around diet and stuff, and it's definitely a mindset where, like, you know, people will eat more for function rather than, you know, like, oh, it's a party in my mouth, you know, that kind of thing. And I thought that it's actually quite interesting, you know. And I think that I think probably we're talking about balance. There's probably something to be said for that. You know, maybe let's say if you're going to eat 2 meals a day, then make one of them not hardship, but make one of them bland, so that, you know, maybe you can enjoy the other one. Just don't overpack it. It's about finding that balance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that even that, you're like, it's people overthink it. You're overthinking. You're thinking, oh, so if I eat 2 meals, I'll do this one, this meal, that meal. Like, what you need to get good at is like listening to your body.
Yeah,
that's a skill. That's a skill like everything else.
But how do you learn that though?
Pay attention.
How do you do that?
Over again. Because everything's so external, isn't it? Like there's so much stimulus everywhere.
Yeah.
That you're not paying attention to this. This is like so this is one of the things we spoke about. You asked me for what am I into? I'm into like self-mastery. Where I am at the moment. So I'm a bit of an introvert, but that's powerful for me because I have a really good understanding of myself, my emotions and my body. But it's a skill, you get better at it. So where do we start this from? Food. So I know you've got to recognize when you're actually hungry and not bored. Two different things. Wanting to eat and needing to eat, 2 different things. And like everything in life, there's an amount of discipline, right? If you have no discipline, then you're just like fucked. You're basically fucked.
Yeah, you're just a savage, basically.
Yeah, you're basically fucked if you have no discipline. It's a skill. You need to like, your body tells you everything you need to know. It tells you everything you need to know if you listen and you learn how to listen. And so I'm about to turn 40. I've had this body for 40 years.
Congratulations.
I'm very aware of what my body needs. It's but most people don't pay attention. They don't pay attention to what their body needs. They're more focused on the next season of Cobra Kai, right?
Yeah. Well,
So
not for me, but yeah.
And then what they do is they'll bitch a man. They've got a bad back and a sore hip, and they're overweight.
Yeah.
Your body, that pain that your body's, that signal your body's sending to your mind, that there's something wrong with your back. You need to pay attention to that. That's your body trying to tell you, yo, there's something wrong with me. Can you come and help me? Do something. And you're like, oh no, just give me some. I'll take painkillers. I'll just take some painkillers and keep doing what I'm doing. That makes my back bad. I'll just take medication that allows me to continue to do the thing that's causing the problem in the first place. So people just don't. You just block it out, and people don't pay attention to their body.
I remember seeing a thing. There's a bit of research somewhere. Oh gosh, I can't remember. I'm sure with a bit of internet digging, you could probably find it. But they were saying that physiologically, cocaine versus Oreos, that physiologically your brain, your body, brain system, whatever, finds Oreos more addictive in nature than cocaine. Now, you know,
a bit like I said, with no discipline, your body's lazy, right?
Yeah.
It just needs calories. It doesn't. Your body doesn't know the difference between a calorie from an Oreo and a calorie from a steak.
No,
or
that's right. Yeah.
Calorie, like it's just a calorie, right? And this thing gives me lots of calories really, really quickly, and I can process it really, really quickly. And then you have a crash. And then you just sit around and watch Cobra Kai.
You're going to piss off so many Cobra Kai people. You're going to say, basically, you're saying they're all fat Oreo eating slobs. That's what you're saying.
It depends on what you want. So this is. I kind of keep going in anyway.
No, go on. No, go on. Go for that. That was good. What was that?
It depends on what you want. Right. It depends on how. And again, the more you kind of pay attention and know yourself and focus on your body and your mind, you start to become aware that this isn't me. This is just my body. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Me, you can, whatever label you want to put on it, my spirit or my conscious or this or whatever that is, that's me. This is just the vessel that I'm passing through for the next 100 years, right? Why would I not want this vessel to be sharp? Why would I not want this vessel to be the optimal? Why would I want it to be slow, sick, fat, like useless? Why would I want that vessel for me to be like that? Why would I want that? It's like getting your car and just trashing it and keep treating it like shit and filling your car up with fucking McDonald's packets and just kicking the crap out of all of the body work all the time. And like, why would you do that? It's dumb.
But some people do it though, don't they?
Yeah, lots of people do it. So yeah, I don't know. To me, like my vessel that I'm passing through this life in, like I want it to be well-oiled machine. I don't need it to be the best at anything. I don't want to be the strongest or the fastest or I don't need it to be a specialist. I don't need this. As soon as you get to a level where you're like specializing in something, it's at the detriment of something else, right?
Right.
I want it just to be capable of doing anything I ask it to do.
So they call it general preparedness.
Yeah, just at any moment. If you were like, oh, do you want to come on do you want to join me for one of my runs? I don't train for that like you do, but yeah, I can come along. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to prepare myself for it. I can just do it. And I'll get more sore from it the next day than you will because you've done it before. You're more accustomed to it.
But you still got the capability, though.
Yeah, I've still got the capability of doing it. But that's just like one example. But why would I? Yeah, I just don't. It makes no sense to me why you would want your body to be less than optimal. Why not? Why? It doesn't make sense.
So
and you like, and again, it's like one of the things we spoke about in the first part of the conversation is that like I recognize processes. I'm like, it's not that I recognize processes. I've just seen processes so many times that I understand the process.
So when you said, Andrew, when you said, oh gosh, what did you say? You were saying, oh my God, it's gone out of my head. What were you saying? You were saying, God damn it, I can't even remember it. I'll have to cut this out because I'm fucking my brain's. But yeah, yeah, what you were saying about.
There's a separation in my mind between my consciousness and my physical body.
Yeah. Oh God damn it! I can't. It's completely gone. But yeah, it was something along the lines of that. Yeah. So what you said was, you know, when you're saying that your body's a vessel, and it's like the classic thing that you said to me, and you you said to me several times. And I remember when I first started to hear you say that, it used to make me groan. And I'll tell you why. So it's just like when when I was doing martial arts like karate. I mean, I probably would have been a teenager, late teenager, and somebody says, so I'm this guy and I'm doing my karate, sport karate, and somebody says, use your reach. I don't know what that means, man. So it's like where you're saying like stop overthinking. You've got somebody who's like at the beginning of their journey, and they're like, let's say when I first started talking to you, I was like, right, okay, I need to get strong. I want to get strong, and like you're overthinking. And it's like, how do I not overthink? Like, so what's the first step that you would, that you would take, or advice that you would give people to go, how do you stop overthinking with regards to the outcome of, say, some physical endeavor or skill acquisition? Like, what's the structure of that? What's the first thing? What's an actionable step that anyone watching, listening to this podcast can go, okay, right.
You work backwards from the goal, right? So what is it? Okay. What's the goal? What do you want?
Okay, so let's say you want to do I don't know, let's just say, I'm going to say one that's on my list, which is, let's say, the fan dance. So it's a 15 miles, I'll have to carry 35 pounds plus water on my back, wear boots, all that kind of stuff. So that would be my goal. That would be my end game.
You've got to run 15 miles carrying what, 20 kilos, 40 kilos?
No, less than that. For 35 pounds, which I think is about 35 pounds is what, about 17 kilos or something?
I think about that, yeah. Less than 20 kilos. So you've got to do, if you're trying to just like distill it down to make it simple, you're trying to run, you want to be able to run 15 miles carrying 20 kilos. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your current capability? What can you do
now? Well, I can do the distance. Well, I mean, I could complete it, but what's
the goal?
Well, the goal is to have the best performance that I could possibly have. Because I think, because one of the things is one of the prerequisites of it is like any of the faculty, any of the staff, people who are running the event, they can just pull you at any given time, and they don't need to explain why they're pulling you. If they're, if you were just like, it's like, come on, you off, theoretically. So I suppose it's to be able to do that in the best possible time, given I'm me. You know what I'm saying? So that's just one. If that's just one goal.
That like setting it as a goal is not specific enough.
Right.
You want to be able to run 15 miles with 20 kilos better. So
yeah, I mean, I'd probably drill down and get something on times, and go. I'd go like, well, what's the maximum amount of time that it's ever been completed in, and like come back from there, and say 15 minutes, and if I could do that, and etc. etc. So but yeah, so I suppose for anyone listening, like, what would be the first thing that they could do towards, you know, not overthinking things, that when they've got that energy, they've got that enthusiasm, that they, you know, like I came to you with when we were doing some weights work, and so, you know, they've got that, and so they can't, it's like, how can they not overthink? Like, what do you get them to do? Just do one thing? Or?
Make a plan.
Right.
Follow the plan.
Okay.
Simple as that. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Like one thing I try to do, and I try to say to people, is like, imagine, like, what's the most efficient, what's the word? What's the most efficient, like, not company or
what, organizational structure or something?
What's the most efficient organization in the world? It's the military, right?
Oh yeah.
Pretty much. Like, so whatever it is you're trying to do, how would the military go about it?
Yeah.
How would they do that? How would they sort that out? They'd find out all the details. They'd, like, just efficiency.
Yeah.
Like, no wasted time. Like, if that's actually your goal, I want to do this. Everything you like. So this is different than doing gen pop stuff. When you're working with, like, athletes or like sporting and things like that, it's slightly different, because if you really want to do it, every single decision you make, that's the first question you ask.
Yeah.
So, I want to be a world champion.
Yeah.
Is this plate of food going to make me a world champion? Is this bedtime going to make me a world champion? Is this drink going to make me a world champion? Is this, like, everything? That's your whole. If that's your goal, like, that's the question you ask with every decision you make. You can't be quite as strict with, like, general population people, because, you know, it's not really, like, it's not do or die, or it's not as important as an Olympic gold, like, if you dedicate your whole life to it.
So how do you work with them then?
With
do you have to, like, feel like you have to sort of pull yourself back in? Do you have to sort of dial it down a bit, or do you not want to just go?
You can't. It's different. Like, training athletes is easy. Anyone, like, all the coaches
they're motivated.
Like, I just train athletes, and, like, look at the results I get. It's easy to get results with athletes, because you just tell them to do something, they do it. It's not hard. It's not a hard job. Training athletes is not a hard job.
Right.
Training like 49-year-old like housewife who's got, you know, 49 years of bad habits. That's
sedentary.
Difficult.
Yeah.
That's a difficult job. That's a much more difficult task.
Yeah.
But training a fucking savage who just wants to be more of a savage.
Do this again. Do exactly what you just did again.
Yeah. It's not even really a job.
Yeah. Quite pleasurable, I would have thought.
Well, I think that's why a lot of young coaches will do it, because it's like, it feels rewarding, right? Because you feel like you're doing a good job, but it's not. When the more experience you get, the more you realize that it's not hard. It's very, very easy. You get like a really motivated young guy who's like who wants to achieve. It's very easy. It's not a difficult thing.
It's more about directing the person.
Gen pop is just like it's the process thing. It's the understanding the process, and you're just trying to simplify it for them. Take it back to most people. It's just moving. It's just, but obviously the diet's a really big thing, which we've already spoke about.
Sure.
But outside of that, it's just moving. It doesn't have to be anything like, you haven't got to start learning how to do Olympic lifting. Like, how well do you walk? How efficient is your walking? Most people don't know how to walk. Have you ever been taught how to walk? Or have you like most people, like, how many people that do you see running? Like, running's a popular thing, right? People go run. I look at people running and think, oh, every step you're just closer to one step closer to injury. Here we go.
Yeah.
People just they don't have efficient movement, don't use their bodies well, and the bodies are amazing because your body will adapt. But it can only take so much stress, right?
I remember when you moved to that studio that was, Oh, I can't
just
think.
what it's in my head as well, because so the other thing is people want to do the sexy stuff, right? People want to do black belt stuff before they can do white belt stuff.
Yeah.
So they want to go to the gym. They want to go to the gym. So this is one of my things that again, with like a lot of fitness people, trainers and stuff, is they'll put a bar on your back, right? So you're going to put a weight on someone's spine that can't even move properly yet. It doesn't make sense. Like how easy is it for, like, say for instance, we're talking about somebody in your age range, right? And you've been doing sports your whole life and you're active and that kind of thing. But how you're very aware of other people your own age. How easy can they just get on the floor and get off the floor again?
Not easily.
Everybody who's listening to this, if you just think about like your parents or your grandparents, how easily can they just get on the floor, lay down, and just get up again?
Yeah.
You're gonna put a weight on their spine.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
Well, you see those the gym fails, don't you? And somebody, I remember seeing one.
Well, it's one of the biggest problems in the fitness industry is the majority of the people who work in the fitness industry are in their 20s. They have no idea what a 40-year-old body feels like, or a 70-year-old body feels like. They're just like, oh well, I can run around all day and do whatever the fuck I want and never get tired. So I'm just assuming that everybody else is like that. I've done that. I'm sure you've done that, especially like in the fighting days, like, you know, and you've been into martial arts rooms where there's a whole bunch of savages in there, and you're maybe 45, and you're like, I can't do that. I can't do what they're doing. I can't try. You want me to come back training tomorrow? Nah, I'm probably going to take me about 4 days to recover from this.
Yeah. It's a different. The journey changes, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I think with general population people, it's like you need to strip it right back. Like learn to breathe, learn to stand, learn to walk, and go from there. Because you'll be surprised how much you'll get out of those things. Learning how to breathe, learning to stand with good posture, and learning to, like, basic locomotion, walking. Like how much thought process do you understand how your foot strikes the floor? Do you understand what your body's, the mechanics you're supposed to go through to propel yourself forward? I very much doubt it. But you're going to put a bar on your back. You're going to put a weight on your spine.
That's a tough sell, though, isn't it, for people? Because people are so used to, and I think, I have a theory that
but people don't want to go through the process.
Right. It's technology, because we live in the digital age. It's like you press a button, bing, the light comes on. And people think that, well, we must be like that as well, but it doesn't seem to work like that.
Yeah, you have to understand processes. Yeah. And you have to be honest with yourself about where you are, and you have to start at the beginning.
Do you ever set clients?
Do I have sorry?
Do you ever sack clients, or do you usually, I suppose now you've got quite a good filtering process that you won't take them on unless you're sure they're gonna.
Well, you never know. 12 months can be a long time, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but I haven't done it many times. I've probably done it maybe 3 times in 20 years. But I'll definitely sack a client. Because you've always, like, a client's a walking, talking billboard for you.
Sure.
You've got a client that just it looks like, I mean, if it's the health and fitness industry, right? You've got a client who you've been working with for 2 years, and they're not listening to anything you're saying. Then, you know, if I'll give it a long time. Like, I'll try. I won't give up on you.
Yeah.
I'll keep trying, but there comes a point where you're your own worst enemy.
And it comes down to that. They must not understand process, or for some reason they haven't taken to the process.
There's a big gap between understanding and execution. There's a gap
for sure.
You can understand what it is you need to do, but can you do it? It's a different thing. It's a different thing.
What's in between those two things? Between understanding and, I think it's application, isn't it? It can't be anything else.
It's the courage to fail. It's the courage to fail. Like, I don't want to start because what if I fail?
Yeah.
But you have to fail. That's part of the process. But
People, that's a really tough sell, isn't it?
But you don't understand processes.
Yeah.
Like we're going to go for 12 months of, we're going to go for a 12-month process, and we're going to spend 3 months failing.
Right.
But
people don't want to hear that.
Well, the thing is,
don't put that in your marketing literature.
No. That's not what it will be, because it will be so. What you'll do at the beginning is so simple.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you have this as well when you have clients. Like the kind of feedback you get in the first sort of 3 months is ridiculous. They're just like, wow, like that's what happens, isn't it? They're like, I've never. Even people that have got like 10 years of training under the belt. I've got a client at the moment who like texts me every week and he's like, never felt so fit and strong. I'm like, it's been a month. It's only been a month.
Yeah, when I have that in therapy or coaching class, I'm like, slow down, horse. That kind of thing. Just like, well, just settle down. And I've got like, oh, it's life changing or this and that. I mean, not every client, obviously, but what I want is to have people go for the low hanging fruits. So just make something that's easy to integrate. And I want them to.
It's the 80-20 rule, isn't it? You're going to get, what are you going to get the most out of? You're not going to get, you just go and start lifting weights. Is that going to get you more long term than like eating well and learning how to walk and breathe?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, sleep, man, is such an important thing. Last week, I was having late nights. I was being such an idiot. Oh God. And then
What punishes you for that, right?
Don't talk to me, because then Saturday night we had friends around, so we had a late night. So it's maybe I was such an idiot sometimes. So it's like 1 o'clock, and I was like, now everyone's gone. Now I need to unwind. So I watched like, an episode of The Office or the American one. It's just kind of, so I'll watch an episode and I'll fall asleep. And I was just like, oh God, it was like maybe around 2 o'clock, 1:30, before I sort of like got up, before I basically got to sleep or went to sleep. And then, and I think I'd had late nights all through the week. So my Sunday run was hideous. It was hideous. And it's like,
but what did you expect?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like my body saying, well, what did you expect, idiot? Just like, like that's what you get. And I knew it. And I was sort of like, I was doing my run, like, okay, this week I'm going to get better.
A lot of people are just because you're in that state where, like, you don't sleep enough and you eat crappy food, you're underhydrated, you're just constantly in that state. So that's how you feel. You don't realize what's on the other side.
For sure.
Start drinking some water, eat some vegetable, and sweat, and like get out of breath.
Yeah.
For a little bit. Do that for like 8 weeks, and you're going to feel like a completely different human being. Yeah.
It is amazing. I mean,
you can't go back. Like if you look after yourself well. If I have like a pizza, if I have like a couple of slices of pizza, that'll wreck me for about 48 hours. Because I'm so in tune to it. I'm so in tune to it that it will just wreck me. It'll wreck me for like 24 hours. Sorry, 48 hours.
So you sort of kind of on that subject, but you said that you're in tune with your body and your mind as well to some extent. I think there's.
Yeah, I understand that's a journey I'm on as well.
No, yeah, of course, yeah, and I think wisdom is being able to introspect without being negative. When you hear the word introspection, there's a connotation that like you're damning yourself, that you're somehow sort of degrading yourself, as opposed to just analyzing what's going on. But I think if you can do that, that is.
And don't punish yourself.
Yeah,
something bad happening or making a mistake or I love making mistakes or relish that too. Like, what's the lesson?
But well, I think well, I think for you, I think you've obviously got this kind of you know, like an evolved mindset or a different mindset where it's like you've got that freedom of mind that you like, if you make a mistake, then you get to figure out how you made the mistake and fix it and then learn from it, which is the growth mindset you spoke about, right?
Yeah, I kind of want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to feel comfortable. I don't really want to be uncomfortable, like overall. Yeah. I know I live in a first world. And,
but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but I don't really want to feel like I can relax. I want to be challenged. I want to be challenged. That's one of my biggest. That's one of my biggest challenges with this whole lockdown thing. Like I miss being challenged mentally, because like obviously I love all these people in the house. I can't really be challenged mentally by a 6-year-old, or 11-year-old, or a 10-year-old. Even my wife, I can run circles around mentally if I wanted to.
I'm going to make sure she watches this. I'm going to blackmail you.
But both ways. I'm sure she's obviously got ways of manipulating me in the same way.
They have their ways.
And physically, like one of the burdens of like taking care of your body is that it needs to be challenged. Yeah. You can't just like I can't just have a highly tuned body and then just like, I'm just going to sit around and do nothing with it. It needs to be challenged.
How'd you build that introspection, you know, that level of awareness that you speak about, like that how do you build that? What can you give people that would be something that they can use that will allow them to look inside and I think, not turn it into some sort of negative thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think when I'm probably an older and wiser man, I'll have a better answer for you. But spending time with yourself. Spending time with yourself. Like, not without your headphones in, without a screen on your face. You know, like you see people going for a walk, where everyone's going for a walk nowadays with headphones on. Yeah. Spend some time with yourself.
That's something I really love that. I remember, you know, when I first started kind of realizing, you know, that all started that I lost my dog. And then the day that I lost my dog, I must have walked around a 1 mile perimeter of a forest, must have done 20 miles, must have done it. And I did it in jeans and, oh my God, my chunky thighs were like shredded. It was awful. So I realized, and Ali actually came and he helped look through the forest. He was amazing. You okay?
Yeah, I burped in the microphone.
That's right. That's cool. And I realized, oh my God, like, even though I've been doing jiu-jitsu and, you know, kidding myself that I've got some sort of cardio, I did zero cardio. And that's when I sort of started. So I think I was looking at some David Goggins stuff, and I was getting up at 5:30 and just doing a couple of miles and, you know, just plodding around. And I love what he says. And it really, it suits my mindset.
Do you realize he's insane?
Yeah, I do. But what I love, this keys into what you're saying, because he's like, I don't listen to music because it's cheating. And I thought, that's so ridiculously hardcore. But then I think you're relying on an external stimulus to motivate you. And so I as soon as I kind of got that, because I was listening to, I think I downloaded, you know, something from YouTube, and it was like, you know, like when they do these 3-hour hip hop mixes from the 90s or something like that. And I was listening to this and it was all gangster. And I thought, no, I want to get rid of it. And I want to listen to my own breath. And it's like the beginning of that.
It's not even, okay, so you're kind of on the right tracks, but then you take it even further. It's not, you want to listen to your own breath. You want to control your breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you breathing?
Yeah. So it was
where are you breathing? Where is that breath going?
Yeah. Yeah. And building an awareness of that. But I could only do that once I deleted the distraction. I could only start that journey once I deleted the distraction of the headphones. This is why because I think I think weights is about the only thing that I'll sometimes listen to music with. But I think less. I can't remember the last time I went, oh, I'm going to go and lift some weights, or I'm going to do something, load bearing exercise, other than sort of like tabbing with a rucksack or where I never use it now. And because I'm going through the forest and plodding along and stuff like that. And I'm like, I want to be in this world. I want to feel the sensations on my face. I want to feel the cold, and I want to hear the birds. I want to hear people. I want to. Do you understand what I'm?
His clothes are restricting. Let me take these clothes off and run around the wood.
Yeah, and then somebody hit me with a trank gun, with a trank dart.
I've got weapons. That's fine.
Yeah. I am a weapon. But so yeah, there is that. Yeah, I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't do that, and I think that has definitely allowed me to, with practice, get an increased kind of like level of awareness, and has allowed me to grow. I'm not saying I'm anything at running or distance or anything, but by my own benchmark, it's allowed me to understand myself.
So running's a good example. Like what you're doing is a good example. So so the mindset most people will have is, I need to get to the finish line, and they'll just get to the finish line, right?
Which is capability.
But what you should be focusing on is the process, right, of getting to the finish line. So what's my running gait? How many strides do I take a minute? How do I strike the floor? What's my breath? How am I breathing? What am I doing with that breath? Where am I breathing into? What's my posture when I run? How do I hold my head? What are my hips doing?
There's a guy who I want to get on this podcast, Carl Russian. His nickname's Rushy. He went from a big guy to running marathons and this and that. He's a great guy. But he, because I think maybe about 9 months ago, I was sort of posting my Sunday update, which was always posting really horrible 40 miles. And he's kind of said, like, just like, stop, look around, like, be in nature, like, stop trying to. And it's like, it's almost like that thing that you say with the overthinking. It's like, just be present, like, just
yeah. If you're thinking about the performance of your running, right? How many strides does it take you to run 15 miles?
Well, I know how many strides it takes me.
You don't know the answer, is that point? But like, and I'm not trying to find the answer. But my point is say it's like, let's just say, for instance, it's 1,000. It's 1,000 strides, right? That's every stride is a 1 repetition. So you should be focusing on each repetition. Like what was like so I can do this with my body. I'm like, I can completely analyze that repetition. How do I improve that next repetition? And when you're running, your emotions, I might not be able to improve it repetition.
No, I understand what you're saying though.
I might be able to improve it on, okay, every 5, every 10. I can make improvements. I can make adjustments, tiny little adjustments. I'm like, am I just using it? Am I too heavy on the inside of my foot? Am I not even using the outside of my foot? Is my ankle lined up over my foot properly so that I can propel myself forward? And if it's not, is it like tweaking my knee a little bit and then it's tweaking my hip a little bit? Like, is the alignment of my body and is the mechanics of my running, is it perfect? Because if it's not, and I'm not trying to make it perfect, what am I doing? I'm just trying to get from point A to point B.
No, I agree. And I recently I've been able to make, pardon the pun intended, strides forwards in those areas. And it's been really interesting to how I've done that.
Your running's improved tenfold just by focusing.
Well, by doing this over the last 3 weeks, I've dropped nearly, I'm almost ashamed to say it, but nearly 20 minutes off my times for that distance.
Just by focusing on what you're doing?
By focusing on that, but also by walking, which I was talking to somebody else about this today.
It's if you're drilling the mechanics.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've been around fight gyms a long time, right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between the guy hitting the heavy bag and the guy practicing his technique on the heavy bag.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a completely different thing, right? There's a difference, like, hitting heavy bag, and like, okay, am I like generating the power from my foot and it's coming out of my hip,
right,
my body, and sending it out, and I'm drilling the technique. I'm drilling the techniques so that when the competition comes, the technique just comes out. Technique just comes out of me. Like, that's what you should be like. You should take the same mindset. So you have a competition coming up, which is your sorry, I forgot what it was called, but the name
Fandos,
of the run. So every time you go out for running now, you're drilling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
you're drilling. And if you're not, if you're just going out and running, then you're wasting your time. You might as well not.
It's absolutely spot on in what you're saying, because and it's so weird that it's taken me so long to realize this, but you know, so I'm going along and then I'm going like, I feel more tired than I should be, and I'm like, if I delete the fact that on my sleep, you know, if I delete that out of the equation, okay, then it's like, then I've got like a checklist: arms, am I lifting am I lifting my feet, my knees, and as my breath. And it's like, I guarantee if I'm really struggling, it's because I've stopped moving my arms or I've stopped lifting my feet. And then once I attend to the technique, because it's like in fighting,
so imagine
you get I was just going to say, like, it's when the two athletes get tired, it's the person who's got that technique who can still apply that technique, which is going to give them the outcome. And it's exactly the same.
Yeah, of course it is. And that's what you should, like, all your training runs. That's what it is. It's training runs. It doesn't matter. Who cares? It doesn't like, if you like, your time doesn't matter. Your time doesn't matter until competition day. That's when it matters.
Yeah.
Training is practice.
Yeah.
Practice. And if you're not practicing, then you're just a hobbyist and you're wasting your time.
Yeah. And that's and you're probably the first, or kind of, I guess, only kind of PT type person that has kind of understood that delineation between practice. I mean, the first time I've read about that was in I think Way of the Kettlebell with Pavel, and he talks about it's practice. It's not you doing a workout. It's you're practicing the technique. You know, these kettlebells are big, scary, dangerous things. You drop one on your foot, you've got broken toes. Your arm wobbles. You know, you could smash your skull in.
What's the purpose? So like, let's call it a workout. So the workout you've got an hour. You're dedicating an hour to exercising your body. What's the purpose? What's the purpose of that hour? Is it just to get like hot and sweaty? Like, it's a waste of time. What am I here for? I'm here to hone an attribute. Okay, what's the attribute? Strength. Strength is probably one of the easiest ones, which is why people like it, right? It's easy to get strong. So say you've got a kettlebell and it's, I don't know, whatever it weighs, 20 kilos, and you can do 6 reps, but the last 3 reps are a bit shit. You should just have done 3 reps. It's a skill. It's a skill. You should just be drilling the good technique. As soon as the technique goes, you're doing like detrimental.
You're kind of damaging. You can kind of potentially damaging your body, and you're
also drilling a bad technique. Why would you do that?
Right. Yeah. It's like in jiu-jitsu. Why would you drill a technique incorrectly?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Why would you do it? It's a waste of your time. The whole thing is like life is just about like time efficiency. You've got so much time. This is how much time you're being given. Use it wisely.
So you're kind of, that speaks to a lot of the idea of being really purposeful about what you're doing, right?
Of course. Why would you not?
So is that something that you take into your daily practices of you know physical culture, and is that something that you share with your clients? I want
it to be efficient. I want it to be efficient. Like if they're like, I want and I learned this with the athletes as well. You want the most efficient, least taxing way of increasing an attribute. You don't want to just do it because it's tough. That's dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's got to be elegant.
There's no like there's a tribe of like people who lift weights, and they're like, we're tough because we lift weights. No, you're not. You lift weights.
You're gonna upset people like that. I'm loving this. You're gonna upset people.
Just go into your local ABA boxing gym and then tell it for like 2 weeks, and then tell me how tough you are afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because you lift weights.
Yeah.
Like, don't just do workouts because they're tough. That's dumb. Like, you're just, what is that? Like, you're there for a reason. Your reason is to get stronger. So you've got an hour. I want to use that hour in the most efficient manner to get the desired outcome. Not just to get like tired. Not just to be like, make myself feed my ego because like, look how tough I am. I did 1,000 reps or 100 reps. What did you get out of that? Tired.
I sprained a muscle.
What did you get out of that? Yeah, you want so you get it from the athletes because so for instance, like an MMA athlete, right? Think about their workload. So we both have been in this world, so we can talk about. Think about their workload. I'm not talking about like a hobbyist. I'm talking about someone who like compete like a UFC level athlete, right? Imagine how much stuff they have to do. They don't want to come and see a strength and conditioning coach or have to do their strength and conditioning session, and it'd be hard. It shouldn't be hard. They've got to do hard stuff all the time. They want to get fitter and stronger, and more mobile, and whatever the attribute is they're trying to increase. You need to find the most efficient way of increasing that attribute that it has the least amount of tax on your system. Not the hardest way, not the like, let's just do 100 deadlifts and 100 burpees because it's hard. What does it achieve? What do you get out of it? Or like you get a little bit of what, mental toughness? I don't know, like what?
Yeah, I guess.
But like, you're tough tough and dumb. Well done.
Yeah.
Like there's like an art and science. There's an art to it, isn't there? Like you could start your journey with your running.
Yeah.
If every single thing you did had a purpose, you get so much better, so much quicker. Rather than just like, okay, I've got to go out and force my body to run this distance. And then when you get to the end, you give yourself a pat on the back. I got to the end. But like, what did you learn from that 15 miles?
Yeah.
I'm just tired. I did it. It's in the bank. I've got 15 miles in the bank.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
No, that's right.
It doesn't mean anything. It gives you a tiny bit of confidence that you can last 15 miles. That's all it does.
So it's weird because one of the first weeks of recent times where I did have this kind of bit of a breakthrough was there was a deadline. Like I had to be home because I had to go and see my mum. My mum's, she lives on her own and she's got dementia. So, I needed to go and visit her. And so I had that. And that was like a hand at my back pushing me. Like I knew that I couldn't just take a leisurely plodding. I had to actually bloody push myself. And that was the story I told myself. Not story, that was my truth for that day. I was like, I don't want to let my mum down, and so I used that. And I didn't think, I'm going to use this as a cunning strategy. But that was like, I need to be back because I need to go over and see my mum kind of thing. But that allowed me to access, sounds pathetic, speeds, like, access speeds I'd never known before. But actually, it made me like a mile and a half, whatever, faster or whatever. But it allowed me to give myself permission to kind of, usually I'm like, for many months, I've run within my comfort zone. I've been running for ability, not performance. Do you understand what I mean? So where I've been like, I just want to get it done. I want to be able to do it as if I couldn't do it. Like, ridiculous. Like, as if I would be somehow, I would
just mindlessly racking up miles in the bank.
yeah, rather than just going, I need to do this and I need to get it done. It is radically different being outside of your comfort zone. It's painful.
The mindset is, I want to make each rep better than the last rep.
Yeah.
Are you perfect?
No, of course not.
Is your running mechanics perfect?
No.
Of course not. Every repetition should be one step closer to perfect, right?
Yeah. It's interesting because what I've discovered about myself that works for me is I just give myself an 8 count, a quick 8 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Man, I just repeated that for nearly 2 hours 40 or 2 hours, whatever it was. I just literally repeated that in my mind, repeated that, and that was the thing that kept my feet moving. It's so weird, like, but that just one thing, it's almost like a kind of meditation. I would just do that, and then when I felt a bit tired, I would like hook myself back into that rhythm. And only that, and then my mind would wander. I'd be like, no, back to this. And it was, and I was like, why does it take me this bloody long to learn this? Or it's just so weird. Like, how sometimes you can go and I talk about this with people that, that some people, I don't really see things as plateaus, like we're talking about, like you start to learn to do something and then they'll go, oh, I've reached a plateau. No, you're not, you're consolidating. But I had to consolidate so much before I'm like, okay, now things happened and there's an opportunity, and now I have to push myself, or I choose to push myself, or whatever. But it's just like, I don't know what I think that's always been a big deal, like with the fighting and and lifting weights and stuff like that. I always felt that fairly comfortable doing it, I guess. No, I'm not saying I'm particularly good at it, but I think I was, because physiologically I'm predisposed to, that, as opposed to trying to travel longer distances.
Well, there's definitely something in all of the like physical activities that you've been drawn to are punishing.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
I'm stupid. Yeah.
They're all punishing activities.
Yeah. Yeah. Running is just as bloody punishing. God.
Was it? But I think a really good mindset. I mean, I don't do endurance running, so I don't have a ton of experience in it. But if I did, my mindset would just be, I would focus on each step.
Yeah, that's it.
Rather than like, where's the finish line?
No, yeah.
All those steps accumulate, and like you'll be, I'm finished.
Absolutely.
Just one more step.
Absolutely. I was listening to Rich Roll, and Rich Roll says that that's a technique, and I used that, and I was like, I'm just going to keep this pace up to that lamppost. I'm just going to get, and I was like, you're kidding yourself, but it's still a strategy that works. And when I'm going up, hills on a trail, and I know that I'm like, and I'm like halfway up, and then my body starts going, well, this sucks, right? How much more of this shit have we got to do? And then I'll look up and I'll be going, oh. I'm like, no, bring it down, bring it back to now. It's almost like a meditation, right? When your mind wanders, you're bringing it back to now. And if I bring it back to now, and I literally, and because obviously I wear caps a lot of the time, and I wear caps when I run, I'll have my cap. So I'm literally almost like blinkers, like a horse, where I can't see this depressing elevation that I've got to do. I'm only going to be looking at the next 6 feet in front of me. And that works. And I know it's a stupid little trick, but it works. It gets me up hills that I don't even know I'm going up a hill.
Yeah, I just focus on the next stride.
And sometimes, and I don't know what you'd say about this, but sometimes, even when my body is really tired, sometimes going up an elevation, going up a hill, it actually, I don't want to say feels good. That sounds a bit corny, but it's like I find it somehow sort of stimulating, or it's like that slight taxing of, not like a real sheer incline, but going up something like that, it's because it's putting a different stress on my muscle than just running flat. It's somehow, there's something that it's on, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's like, you know, like when you're lifting a weight and it's like, well, it's heavy, but it feels good. You know, help me out here. That's the kind of thing that I'm going with. Like it's a, oh, well, they talk about distress and eustress. So it's like, it's a positive stressor. Like it's hard, but it's still, it feels good in a weird way. That's, I don't know.
A sense of achievement, right?
Yeah. And to be able to do that is, wow, that's amazing. I think, you know, it's amazing. Are you still walking? Are you still walking? Because you were a big advocate of walking, aren't you?
Yes, I still walk minimum of an hour a day, minimum.
So you must be doing about 4 or 5 miles or something like that. I mean, are you just strolling or?
I don't know. I don't.
I know you don't. I know that's.
It depends.
Because you've got a beach near you.
Depends on how I feel during the day. Like just. Yeah, some days the walk will turn into a run. Some days I'll do some sprints. Some days I'll run up a hill. Some days I'll just walk. Yeah, it varies. Depends on how much energy I've got.
Do you know? So if you're feeling like lower on energy, will you manage your output accordingly? Just go, well, I'm going to do something, but not necessarily bust my shit, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm feeling my energy's low, my energy will be low because of something I've done in the previous days.
Previous couple of days, yeah.
So, yeah, I'll just walk. Go for a walk.
Yeah. It is so underrated, man.
Or to walk with someone, so you're having a chat.
Yeah.
And before you've been out for a couple of hours, you've had a good conversation like this. We could have been having this conversation while I was walking, right? It's been 3
absolutely.
hours.
Yeah. I'm looking for somebody I want to walk 30 miles. Just want to see if I can cover it in a day. I'm pretty sure I can, you know, like 3. And I want to, but I just don't want to do it on my own. I mean, I know I could do it on my own, but I just think it'd be more fun doing it with the bar.
It couldn't be that hard to find someone else to do that.
I just need somebody that's prepared to listen to my bullshit for a whole day, you know, that kind of thing. But I think I've twice recorded videos asking, say, if anyone wants to walk 30 miles with me, get in touch with me. I think I still haven't like uploaded them. I think I don't know. I feel a bit weird about it.
It's probably more impressive if you just did it by yourself.
Yeah.
You probably learn more about yourself doing it by yourself.
That's true.
It's one fucking day. It's not even that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And I want to do it minimally as well. So literally just like, you know, a sandwich and like and just my water and stuff. I just don't want to bring anything that I don't need to bring. You know, I'm happy just to stick on. I think I'm just going to do it.
Just take some walk with you and just
start walking. Yeah. I love that thing about our mutual friend Dan Strauss, who he sort of tells a story. He was talking about doing farmers walks, and he picked up his bars and I just wanted to see how far I could walk with it, and he walked quite far with it, and then he's realized, shit, now I've got to go back with it. I think you might have even been there, because I know that you guys hung out with him.
I haven't done I've done like long carries and stuff in the past, but I don't think I did that with him.
Yeah. So what's your activities? What are you focusing on at the minute for yourself?
I like martial arts at the moment. I'm doing lots of martial arts. I'm doing grappling, striking. I'm at it because tons of jiu-jitsu doesn't work when you get punched in the head, right?
It's off-putting for sure.
So I do that, and I actually find that alone is enough motivation to keep everything else in check. I think this is like one of the best motivators in This is why I do sports. This is why I think that just exercising for the sake of exercising is very, very difficult for anybody, even myself. I'd probably find it really hard to motivate myself.
Okay.
But if you're doing a sport, I want to be good at the sport. So everything ties in. My nutrition has to be right. My sleep has to be right. And it just so happens that the sport that I like doing, if I have a shit day, I'm going to get beaten up.
Yeah.
But it could be anything. It could be basketball or tennis or whatever. Like, I don't want to lose, or I don't want to get smashed or like embarrassed. So I need to make sure that I'm sleeping well, and I need to make sure that my body's well fueled. I need to make sure that I'm hydrating. So sport is one of the best ways to motivate yourself. Which I think is kind of what you've done. Maybe inadvertently, maybe you didn't think that thought process wasn't the same, but you've like, okay, you set yourself a challenge, and everything else in your life needs to line up your health wise, so that you can achieve that, right? You couldn't just be going and eating McDonald's and drinking beers and staying out late and still expect yourself to be able to do this run.
Well, maybe when you're 20. But, yeah.
And to be honest, we're saying like how all the activities you've picked are like quite punishing. That's part of it, right? It's that that's the motivation. That's the motivation, right? Like back in the day when you used to do the Thai boxing, like you said, like you can't go out on the piss on a Friday night when you got to go sparring on Saturday.
No, that's not happening.
You can't do that.
Well, you could. No, you could, but you're
probably going to end up with CTE in your later life if you do that every weekend, right?
Yeah, no, that's right. It's not a good plan. It's not a good plan. I think when I was growing up, I could never, I sort of looked at guys that sort of went to the pub every night. I'm like, Jesus, like if you just trained like the same amount as you go to the pub, you'd be this absolute monster, but some people want it as a draw, don't they? It's weird. It's weird what people are drawn to.
Yeah, I think you want, like what we've been talking about, like a capable body for a long time. You kind of need to have a reason to do it. You need to have a reason to do it. It's difficult just to be like, I want to have a fit and capable body. I'm going to just exercise. It's not as motivating as 25-year-old so-and-so is going to try and choke you. If you, so you need to make sure you're like everything is in good shape.
So when
I think as you get older, you have to probably be a bit more strategic about it. So I've got some things in mind. So this year, I tried out basketball last year, and I did it a lot. I put a lot of hours in, and I got all right. And I'm probably going to keep that skill up. But I think the one I want to do is tennis. I'm starting that this year, because going forward, like it's social. It's a social sport. It's something I can do with my wife. It's something we can join a club and we can. But again, like if I join the tennis club, motherfucker, you better be sure that I'm going to be winning. I'm going to be the top of the league. Like that's my motivation. So like all the other 40-year-olds who are joining the tennis club and they're playing with their wife on the Saturday. There's a motherfucker like me who's training 5 days a week. He's eating right. He's sleeping right. He doesn't drink. When it comes to game day on Saturday, guess who's
you're bringing
win?
it. Well, that's the difference.
I shake your hand, but I get to go home with the trophy.
Yeah. So you've got a strong competition mindset then.
I think that's what motivates. It's what keeps everything. It keeps everything else in check, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so weird. Like, over the years, I've noticed that if my training's on point, everything else seems to fall into line. It's because it's like those things kind of line up behind that. If I have, because I've had, quite a few years where I've just had terrible. Talking specifically about jiu-jitsu, it's just been awful. Because it's like maybe once a week because of work and it's just like, oh shit, maybe one week I can't go. And then, maybe out of 4 weeks, I might have trained 3 times. So that's how it's been for like the last couple of years. And it's just like, it's just trash. But, on the weeks that like I'm there like 2 or 3 times a week, I noticed this. And I think I said something to our mutual friend, Chris Hearn. I'm like, my sense of well-being, if I'm training jiu-jitsu 3 times a week, is just phenomenal.
Yeah, you're probably not even conscious of it, but if you know that, like, okay, I've got it's booked in, or whatever, I'm doing 3 training sessions this week, like I said, everything, you'll eat better, you'll make sure you go to bed early the night before, you'll be drinking your water, all that stuff. So everything, just like everything tightens up, and obviously, you know, in the grand scheme of things, you're going to feel better.
Absolutely. So look, so this thing that I'm doing on this podcast gets to this point, and I want to put people kind of on the spot a little bit. Not really, but just say, what advice would you give people?
In what regard?
Well, you heard the question. See what I mean? It's a bit of a dick move. It's a bit of a shit question.
No, it's not. I think we've kind of covered it. What my advice?
Come on, Andy. That's not gonna...
would be embrace a growth mindset. Embrace a growth mindset. Okay. Don't have a fixed mindset in anything, in any aspect of your life, because everything can be improved upon. Anything can change at any moment, at any age, and with any like form of disability or whatever. Like, you're capable of doing so much more than you can possibly imagine. You just applied yourself. So, like, for instance, the tennis thing. Like I said, I'm going to start playing tennis this year. Like, I'm fully aware that I'm going to be terrible at tennis. But guess how good I'm going to be in 5 years? Guess how good I'm going to be when I'm 50? I'm going to be pretty fucking good.
Do you map it out that far? Are you like, well, I know I'm going to do the skill, and I know that I'll...
Yes, I don't map it out that far, but I'm not going to start a skill that I don't want.
Or you're not going to quit a skill, more to the point.
Yeah, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to it's very calculated in which skill I try to acquire. Like, I'm not going to just suddenly decide I'm going to
quits.
I don't know, scuba diving or something. Something like that I'm not interested in right now.
Yeah,
I'm not going to waste my time with. Like, I've got. It's like you heard me explain it. Like, it's quite thought out. The reason I'm going to start tennis. It's like more. It's not just like I like tennis and I
want to beat people at tennis.
No, it's not. It's the at this stage of my life, I can see that it's going to bring a lot to my life. It's going to be a social. It's going to be a big social aspect for me. I'm going to meet new people. It's going to be networking, but also through the process of just getting good at tennis, I'm going to stay fit. I'm probably going to become more agile. I'm going to, like, it's a new sport. So all of the attributes that I'm going to develop from the new sport is good. I'm going to get. Plus all of the, I mean, the real one for me was the social one. And I think the two kind of sports that most people do when they get older is golf, which doesn't really interest me. And tennis seems to be something that you see a lot of people in older age are still able to do. So I'm aware of that. Like, I look at older coaches, I look at older sportsmen and stuff, and like, I'm always wary of like the coaches who have had double hip replacements.
Yeah,
and they're a little bit out of shape now, and they've got bad backs and stuff like. And it's usually the weights lifting guys. It's usually the coaches from the weight room, right? None of them in their 50s and 60s are in good shape.
Yeah.
None of them.
There was, where did I read something that was saying like that, like collegiate wrestling in America, like they're obviously their methods are to create these amazing, explosive, dynamic kind of wrestlers, but it's like those coaches know that they've got those guys for 2 or 3 years, so it's like they don't really give a shit about the impact it's going to have on their body.
Those guys are incredible when they're like 19, 20. But by the time they're late 20s, they're car salesmen with bad backs. Yeah.
Wow, that sucks, man. That really sucks. I don't want that.
But like, the reality is, as you get a bit older, like, I want to enjoy myself till I'm 100.
what's the phrase? Have you ever heard this phrase? It's like, who wants to live to 100? And they say, ask any 99-year-old. You know, it's like the closer you get, the more you think, oh, you know, I want to.
Yeah, so I think this is why we're talking about this. Like, I think that you have to be strategic about the activities you choose to pursue.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to suddenly take up boxing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Start getting 40-year-old and start getting punched in the head for the next 20 years. No. I want to go and play tennis. I'm going to play tennis. I'm going to go to join the tennis club. I'm going to go and hang out afterwards in the country club, and I'm going to talk to, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just going to be strategic about what it is that I want to get good at.
Yeah. So you've given us foster a growth mindset, be strategic about what you do. What else? Give me one more thing, and come on. I know you got this.
For the life advice.
It doesn't have to be. I just said, give us some advice. You need to say that again because your internet crapped out.
Drink water and sleep more.
Yeah. Drink more water and sleep more. Roger that.
Cut out. You're trying to play the. No, I think the having a growth mindset is huge. It's like, I feel like that's a big thing for me. I feel that's a big thing. Like anything that I, you know, as you're on a journey, you come across something I can't do or I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I have the capabilities to fix that. I can understand something, and I can learn it, and I can better it at any stage of my life.
Nice.
Like we moved early on the conversation, we were talking about like providing for yourself and resources.
Yeah.
We talked about like basic economics or whatever it was. Like, you don't learn that in school, and like we said, most people will just not even happily, just like mindlessly work 9 to 5 on the treadmill of life and go through school, university, have a wife, get married, have kids, get into a job, blah, 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 and the only focus is I need to get to retirement age with enough money that I can enjoy myself. Like, that's actually like some people's mindset. Like, I'm not going to start enjoying myself. I can enjoy myself when I retire. Yeah,
just before I die.
At 60.
Can have a great 5 years.
I don't want. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, what's the life expectancy for men? It's not even that. It's like 80 something.
Not with the suicide rate being it is. It's very low.
Well, that probably ties into the whole problem, right?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Go on. Sorry.
It's just that mindset. It's just like I don't need to rely on. I mean, one thing for me that I think baffles me about people who have jobs is you work for someone else. You're literally one decision away from being bankrupt. Like, I'm your boss. I just decide that I want to save some money this year, so we're gonna just get rid of 3 people. Like, you're like, I don't want to have my whole existence in the hands of somebody else.
It's like that, yeah.
You can just do it, like, and they don't care. You're not, like, especially corporations.
Especially you're a resource, aren't you?
Yeah, you work for a big company. Like, it's a number. You work for Tesco's or whatever. You work in the office. You know, in the hierarchy of the company, I'm doing quite well. But you can just, like, go on. And then what are you gonna do? Yeah. You spent 40, 45 years. Do you know what you're going to do? You're going to go out and look for another job.
Yeah.
That's not very smart.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I want to take care of myself. I want to take care of myself.
Fantastic. Look, how can people? I know they said that you're not taking on clients, but I'm sure you're more than happy to speak to people and all that kind of happy mess. How can people reach you?
It's not difficult these days, is it? You just got to go and speak. just got to go into the internet and just like search for me, and there'll be. I'm on Instagram. I don't really been using it recently very much.
Is it Villain Strength you're using more? Is it? Or?
I'm not on. Yeah, Villain Strength, because more will be revealed in the coming months. But yeah, that's part of my business. It's like an app.
Okay, fantastic.
I don't want to talk about it yet, but yeah, there's something down the line with that. Yeah, I don't think it's not hard to find people nowadays, is it? If I want to speak, if you want to speak to me, then
no, and I'll make sure that I stick a link to your stuff there. Man, thank you so much. I'm sorry about the technology stuff that I've had going on. It's just been so jarring, but hopefully we'll have had something here. I mean,
Mate, you're paying it too much. You're going to be able to put out. There may be some visuals to it, maybe not. And again, it's part of your process in this whole podcast thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Thanks for that, man. I appreciate it.
Don't just go, oh, well, it didn't work out. The technology didn't work out very well. Like, what do I need to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe, you need to learn from the mistakes.
No, absolutely. Listen, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you. And thanks. Like I said, you've certainly been impactful, on my life, and I thank you for that. And I'm sure you are impactful on the lives of other people. And so that's a good thing that you're doing, my friend.
Yeah, good. Yeah, like I said in the original, I don't really pay any time in my mind, like what other people, how I'm perceived.
No, I know, and I think that's a big deal, actually.
I think probably if I did, then I would probably do less.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, no, I think that's good. You're free of those chains. So, listen, thanks a lot, Andy. Really appreciate you, buddy. And let's stay in touch and talk soon.
Yeah, nice, Ellen. I like what you're doing. It's good.
Thanks, mate.